Hello and welcome to the Open Virtual Film Project. In this video, we're going to pick up where we left off with the Unreal version 4.26 installed onto our computers and start making our first project. If you are working with a fully released version of the Open Virtual Film Project, you will find the plugin in the Epic Games Launcher. However, if you are working with a version of the engine that has not been fully released yet and cannot find it in the Epic Marketplace, it might be found on the openvirtualfilmproject.com downloads page. And right at the top, you will see various different downloads. The install process on plugins like that is slightly more complicated and will be addressed in a future video. So back to the Epic Games Launcher, and instead of the Library tab, we're instead going to go to the Unreal Engine Marketplace tab. And inside of here, we're going to come to the top right-hand corner and search for Open Virtual Film Project. Click on the link. Inside of here, there will be an option to purchase this plugin, which you'll need to do before installing it. Don't worry, it's free. And then once you've purchased the plugin, it will give you the option to install to engine. You can either click the install to engine here, select the engine version you want to install to from the dropdown, or, as we discussed on our last video, inside of our library, in the vault, if we search for Open Virtual Film, it will give you the option to install from here. So if I click install to engine here, you'll see I've got 426 here, and I'll click install. Once that's all downloaded and installed, we can move on to our next step, which is creating our first Unreal project. To do that, we're going to select the version of Unreal Engine that we want to work with, in this case 4.26.2, and click the launch button. Once your short wait is over, you'll come up with a project browser, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom of it and select the Film, Television, and Live Events template. Click Next. We're going to choose the blank project to keep our project uncluttered. Hit the Next button. Make sure no starter content is enabled, again to keep our project clean. And make a decision on whether or not we want to use ray tracing in this project or not. At any point in the future, we can enable or disable ray tracing in this project. And the use of ray tracing is up to the graphics card that you have installed on your computer and personal preference. Since I still can show you non-ray traced lighting, even if ray traced lighting is enabled, I'm going to enable ray traced lighting. And I'm going to choose an install location for this project. This can be any hard drive on your computer, preferably a solid-state drive with plenty of space. It keeps several hundred gigabytes available per project. But if I do not have space, I can install on my C drive or on an external USB hard drive. Solid-state drives are significantly faster to open than non-solid-state drives. However, once they're open, they both do work. So I'm going to put this project on the root of my 2 terabyte solid-state D drive and call it Class Project. Once I've got that all filled out, I'm going to click the Create Project button and wait quite a while. The first time you open any project on a new computer or create a new project in Unreal, it will take quite a bit of time. And each time you open from then on out will be significantly faster than the first time. Once your project opens up, you'll see some weird things going on. That is a result of this compiling shaders function in the corner. Anytime this little compiling shaders warning shows up, it is working on making sure the materials in your project look how they're supposed to do. And you can do work while it is compiling shaders, however things will be a bit slower and you won't see the final product until compiling shaders is done with. While it is continuing to compile shaders, we're going to do the last bit of our setup in this project. First, we're going to want to enable the Open Virtual Film Project plugin. To do that, go to the Edit Plugins. We're going to search for Ovfp and tick the box next to Enabled. A warning is going to show up saying that you need to restart your editor. However, we don't want to do that quite yet. We're going to set the rest of our project settings first. A little warning is going to show up saying that you need to restart the editor. Go ahead and click that and wait for the editor to reopen. Once the editor is opened, we want to continue setting our project settings. To do that, we're going to go into Edit, Project Settings. The first one we're going to want to set is Custom Depth Stencil. We want Custom Depth Stencil Pass to be changed from Enabled to Enabled with Stencil. And then we can take a look at some of the other settings we have available to us. Scrolling down, on the left-hand side, there's a plugin section. Inside of here, there's an Ovfp Settings. You can find settings on things such as the dynamic set list and cleanup tools. We're going to ignore those for now. There's also an Ovfp Runtime per Computer Settings. where we can set a default username. This is something we'll also go over later, and an Ovfp runtime settings, where we can set things like the logo we're going to be using for this show for runtime virtual reality setups, different settings for different VR users,